In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what makes Daemon and Aemond so similar in House of the Dragons. Now, Daemon and Aemond are two big characters in the show, and they're seen as kind of like the big force on either side of the war. Obviously, Daemon's with the blacks and Aemond's with the greens. They are seen as the two alpha males on both sides, and they have a lot in common with each other. They're not completely the same, but they do have a lot of similarities of their characteristics and their story. So to start off, both of them are second sons. A second son is basically just means when they've got an older brother, so in Aemond's case it's Aegon, and in Daemon's case it's Viserys. This matters a lot because it's the older brother that's set to inherit everything from the family, and in this case even the Iron Throne. This means as a second son you've got to pave your own way through life and get things by force, not through inheritance. This is why naturally they're both better fighters than their older brothers, because naturally they've had to work hard to become someone. We know from the show they're both great warriors and swordsmen, and specifically Daemon, as we see him demonstrate this through tournaments and even through the War in the Stepstones as Season 1, where he won the war through his strategy and his swordsmanship. In Season 1, Viserys even said that people did start to refer to Daemon as king due to this victory over the crab feeder. We haven't seen this with Aemond as much because he is younger, and the only battle we've seen him in was Rook's Rest, and the Greens essentially won Rook's Rest due to Aemond's kind of strategic plan and him and his dragon. Them being seen as really good warriors makes them extremely dangerous on both camps, and that's why they kind of see themselves as a rival. Daemon know Aemond's kind of a worthy rival, and vice versa. They both have big dragons, and they're both great swordsmen as well. With them both being second sons, they both have a period in their life as well where they both feel like they want to be king. Throughout the whole of Season 1, we learn that Daemon really wants to be heir to Viserys and is really upset about the fact that Rhaenyra becomes the heir instead. The difference between the characters is Daemon was happy to be heir after Viserys, whether Aemond wanted the throne from Aegon and even goes to the extent to try and kill him. They both feel like they're more worthy of the throne than their older brothers, and the fact that they don't have the throne makes them feel like they've been unjust to and that it's a bit unfair. Another big similarity is they've both got two of the most powerful dragons. Aemon's got Vhagar, which is seen as the biggest dragon and the most powerful dragon, and then Daemon has Caraxes, which is seen as probably second or third down the list. This means if they ever got into a fight on dragons, it'd be a pretty fair fight. Yes, Aemond has the bigger dragon and the more dangerous dragon, but Daemon's probably a better dragon rider because of his decades of experience. Also, their dragons are a big part of their personality. Why Aemon's seen as so dangerous in the war is because obviously he rides Vhagar, and Vhagar is basically like having a tactical nuke. And it's the same with Daemon as well. He's got Caraxes, and he uses Caraxes in all his conflicts, and you see that throughout the whole of Season 2 and 3. So they both use their dragons to resolve their issues and deal with any conflict that they can. Personality-wise as well, they are pretty similar. They're both seen as the alpha, but apart from that, they're both very outlandish and temperous. From this, Daemon gets the nickname the Rogue Prince, but this could also be fitted to Aemond as well, as they are both similar in characteristics. They both do very outlandish things, which in turn normally upsets people around them in their family. An example of this is where Daemon even killed his own wife, and Aemond does similar things as well, so they don't really care what people think in that sense. Outside of this as well, they are two people that are very prideful, and they regard themselves in quite high esteem in terms of either one of them believes that they would beat the other one in a fight. This also means as well when people do annoy them, they oftentimes want to seek revenge on that person. We see this with Aemond when he wanted to attack Lucerys because Lucerys take his eye out like many years before, and he wanted revenge on this. This is the same with Daemon with someone like Otto Hightower who he hasn't got along with for years, so when they finally come head to head in Season 3, Daemon does want him to die. Apart from the actual characters themselves, they also mirror themselves a bit with their storylines and how they almost end up on the same path. And a perfect example of this is Harrenhal. Obviously in Season 3, Aemon's spending a lot of time in Harrenhal, and it was a very similar story to how Daemon spent most of Season 2 in Harrenhal as well. They both go and seize Harrenhal and take it up for themselves, and while they're in Harrenhal, they have a similar kind of experience, just in the fact that they both have a relationship with Alice Rivers. Obviously Aemon's a lot closer, but they also stay there for a long time as well and are in quite an isolated state of mind. They both have weird dreams and visions and use their time at Harrenhal as a kind of reflection of what's going on with them personally. However, the way they take over Harrenhal, there is a difference between the characters. Daemon sees it in more of a peaceful way, where Aemond comes in, burns lots of people, and ends up killing the Strongs. This ultimately ends up worse for him though as he gets injured, and I think Alice Rivers, when introduced to both the characters, can easily see that Aemond's more kind of a weaker person and is a bit more younger and maybe more gullible and easier to persuade, so I think that's why Alice Rivers chose to seduce him instead of Daemon. However, both their stories within Harrenhal are very similar to one another, and down the line we are going to see them fight in Harrenhal with one another as well, which I won't spoil, but if you've read the books, you'll know what happens with that. The characters themselves, although they haven't come face to face yet in the war, do see one another as the main foes on either side, and they are seen as probably one of the most powerful pieces on the Black and Green camp. We are going to see them face off in season 4, so that'll be a really interesting kind of spectacle to see them come head to head. Let me know what you guys think of this, and thank you for watching.